How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we have probably the final Abyss lore drop for Cyberstorm Access. A lot of new branded cards, a lot of new Bestial cards. This is a big chunk of cards that we just got today, and it's really crazy. Before we begin, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you are new. If you want to support the channel further, click the join button below to learn how you can do that. And you're seeing Aluber here. He's back. And we actually have a new Aluber in the game. So let's go through the card by card, one by one, and see what all the fuss is about. So this is, of course, from YG Organization. Thank you to them for doing all the hard work of collecting everything, translating, of course. And the first card we have is the Bestial Alba, which is something that I've never thought I will see or read. But apparently we have a new Bestial monster. And it's an Aluber, surprising enough. Level 4 Dark Dragon Tuner Monster. 1800 attack, 0 defense, similar to the original Aluber. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. This card's name becomes Fallen of Alba as well on the field or the graveyard, which is really interesting. Similar to what happens with Albion the Shrouded Dragon. And the second effect, which you can use once per turn. If this card is normal special summon, you can discard one card, target one dragon monster your opponent controls, or in their graveyard to activate one of these effects. Send this card to the graveyard, and if you do, take control of that monster on the field, and send this card to the graveyard if you do special summon the monster from the graveyard. So either take one monster or special summon one monster from the graveyard. The fact that it's a tuner is really interesting because we're seeing Cyberstorm Access Despia cards going towards the synchro route, which is incredibly interesting, and I've never thought we're going to see that, but this is what they're building on. Again, this is something that you could get this to the graveyard special summoned with branded regained on your opponent's turn because it's a bestial monster, funny enough. But like a lot of the cards in this drop, I don't see a lot of playability right now. I don't have all the deck building in mind to build a synchro, dragon bestial Despia deck. It's just getting to be a lot of cards right now, which is really wild. The amount of cards is really big. So this is the Bestial Alba, and we have another main deck monster. And I was talking to my friends group on Discord a few days ago, and I was saying, isn't it super weird that Sprite didn't get any support in Photon Hypernova? And not getting any support in Cyberstorm Access. So this is the Sprite support that we were missing. And this is the Fallen of our Gyros, which is sort of like the code name for the little smiley face in Sprite Starter in all the Therian lore. So this is the Gyros or our Gyros, however you pronounce it. And this is a level 2 Dark Thunder monster. So this is essentially a Sprite monster. And unfortunately, if it doesn't get a name change, it's not really searchable by any means. But it is a level 2 that you can tutor out of the deck. So you can also see in the art, sort of like the Gongolda a desert for the spring and stuff, and also like a Lubellion-esque armor covering the sprites with the Sprint jacket, the kit jacket that Sprint wears. So really cool art, in my opinion. So again, 700. You can only special summon the first effect of this card's name once per turn. So it has the same clause of where when you control a level, rank, or link, so all of them, unlike the Sprite monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand to either field. Link monster that points to this card cannot activate this effect. So this is essentially sort of like a mirror match tool, right? You can special summon it to your opponent's elf zone, for example, and it's not an activated effect, so they can't really respond. So that's really interesting. During your opponent's turn quick effect, you can target what exceeds monster on the field and attach up to 2 materials from it. So if you actually special summon it to your opponent's field, you don't get to use this effect, which is sort of like a trade-off. But this is interesting. It's of course not directly a Despia support card, but it is a part of the Abyss lore, so it's really cool to see. And we're getting another Sprite monster, sort of, even though it's a counter Sprite monster, but That's really cool. We have a new Ice Jade as well in this drop, which I'm going to skip because that's not really interesting for me or has any relevance to branded. But this one I called this one in one of our latest videos regarding the new Despia cards, and I said that there's no way that we don't get another Spellcaster Tuner Ecclesia Cartesia type of monster, because it was missing that piece, and this is that piece. Her name is Quem, Guiding Quem the Virtuous, level 4 light spellcaster, 1500, similar to Ecclesia and Cartesia, the same thing exactly. Of course, a tuner, and an interesting part of this card is that it's always treated as a Dogmatica and a Despia card. So that means you can search it off of something like Branded Opening, you can search it off of Tragedy, and you can also special summon it using the Finale Dragon that can special summon a Dogmatica or a Despia monster from the deck. So if you do need to get this out of the way and into the field, you can definitely do that, and it has a lot of support now due to this clause exactly. So you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is normal special summon, you can send one Fallen of Albaz or one card that mentions it from your deck to the graveyard. I think this is very strong. There are countless cards that mention Fallen of Albaz right now. Specifically, I can think about something like Mercurier, which could be really, really strong. Cartesia and Ecclesia, of course, that can come back during the end phase. If you send something like Mercurier and you banish it with the Bestial, you can search an additional Cartesia, then special summon it, start fusion summoning. It's really, really cool. Or, of course, a Fallen of Albaz if you need it in the graveyard, which all the girls sort of, like Cartesia does need Fallen of Albaz to be in the graveyard. It's good for follow-up. It's good for certain effects. So sending, foolishing a card out of a pretty wide card pool is impactful. If a card leaves the extra deck, and this is a clause that we've seen, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I don't really know like all the card texts in Yu-Gi-Oh history, but this is a pretty new clause that we're seeing now if a card leaves the extra deck, which is very interesting. We've seen it also in Luluwalith, the new Despia Synchro monster, and now we're seeing it here. Target one Fallen of Albaz or one monster that mentions it, except for Quem, in your graveyard special summon it. So this is basically any of the fusion monsters, Cartesia, Fallen of Albaz, pretty much, half of your deck mentions Fallen of Albaz, which is cool. Again, the tuner effect historically hasn't really come up. It has come up sometimes in Sword Soul, but Ecclesia has been played in Branded, and, we haven't been playing Synchros. Cartesia is, out. We still don't play Synchros, but I'm wondering what this will do. Again, it's getting really crowded in the main deck for branded players, so I'm thinking that maybe there will be a switch here with the new Bestial Synchro, the new Despia Synchro, something along those lines to sort of go into the Synchro route. And the last card here is branded Etude, and there is a note here from the organization that Etude is a short piece of music designed to give a performer practice in a particular area or skill. It can also refer to Etude Theater, a form of improv theater designed to help strengthen an actor's ability to ad lib. And Despia is all about theater and music, so that's pretty cool, just as a lore piece. And we can also see here in this artwork, it's even smaller now, you can see Aluber back facing the viewer, and probably it seems to me like Floor kneeling down, but I'm not 100% sure. So during either player's turn, you can immediately after this effect resolve synchro summon using monsters you control as material, including one dragon monster. While you control a bestial monster, any monster sent to your opponent's graveyard because they tribute it for a ritual summon, or use it for material for fusion synchro link, or not Xyz obviously, is banished instead. I was waiting for the Xyz because I'm used to saying all of it, but when they're sent to the graveyard as materials for any kind of special summon, they're banished. So this of course can be tutored out by Lubellion. You can just place it on the field directly from your deck. The first effect, the synchro summon effect, again, this is sort of like Konami pushing branded players to synchro summon because we have 2 new synchro monsters. I don't know if this is enough, but you could play this in something like Dragon Link. It could be very impactful in something like Dragon Link and you know, something that can run Lubellion successfully to get this card on the field, but also not be locked into fusion summons and stuff like that. But this is your during either player's turn, so this could be on your opponent's turn when you're no longer locked into fusion. So that's interesting. The second effect is pretty strong, I think. Well, you control a bestial monster. You know, it's sort of like a macrocosmos for any materials for any sort of summon except for Xyz. It's pretty interesting, but again, my main concern, or like my thought process right now, is that branded players are going to have to decide like which direction they're taking, because we're going to be locked into fusion summons, but the deck is sort of like, the new support is pushing us into like synchro summoning. So that's a different direction entirely, but we cannot, you know, beat super mad by getting a lot of new support, which is really, really exciting. It's really exciting to see that Cyberstorm Access, even though a lot of people were like, okay, yeah, the Alba's lore ends with Photon Hypernova. This is what everybody was speculating on. And Cyberstorm Access probably has the most branded and Despia support in any set ever, including like Dawn of Majesty, which introduced the archetype. This is pretty nuts. And I'm really happy to see that. Leave a comment below on what you think about the new cards. Which one is your favorite, and which one do you think you're going to play in your build come Cyberstorm Access? Of course, we're going to do a lot of, you know, testing when these cards become a little bit more relevant. And this is coming out as like a you know, special video, not exactly in the schedule because this is a new drop of cards. But tonight, in just a few hours, my Photon Hypernova build and combo tutorial is releasing on the channel, so make sure you check it out and you know, look at forward at what Photon Hypernova brings to the table. So thank you so much for watching. Again, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.